Hello friends, today I am going to discuss MCQ in BA Part 1 examination 20 for English literature, that is for poetry. So you can see here the question paper is, so I will discuss each question. So question number 1, there are 100 questions and each question are carrying half marks. So question 1, in LG, Gray refers to which churchyard? Options are Westminster Abbey, Portsmouth, Tintern Abbey, none of these. Okay, here the word LG refers to LG written in a country churchyard. The full name is LG written in a country churchyard. So if you see that LG or history of that LG, you will find that the setting, or you can say the setting is churchyard, and that churchyard belongs to St. Giles churchyard. Okay, St. Giles, St. Giles, Stoke Poges. Okay, so this is the basically churchyard name, St. Giles. This option is not here, so you can put here, correct option is D. Okay, so next question. His poems were known for his visual artistry, as he was the greatest artist Britain has ever produced. Who is he? Basically, William Blake. William Blake has written collection of poems like Songs of Innocence, and here you can see the question is also next question, Songs of Experience. These two have described in these two collections. He has described very minutely, like the poems The Tiger or The Chimney Sweepers. Okay, so here the correct option is William Blake. Now next question, question third. Songs of Innocence and Songs of Experience are poems written by William Blake, as I said you. Who wrote Lucy poems and lyrical ballads? Basically, Lucy poems, here is full poem name is Lucy Gray. Okay, this poem is written by William Wordsworth. Okay, here this prova 1799, and lyrical ballad was published in 1798. Okay, as you know, after publication of lyrical ballads, a new literary era was called as Romantic period. Okay, so next question, question fifth. What does the tiger in Blake's poem symbolize? Basically, the poem name is Tiger. There, if you see their spelling is this one, Tiger, Tiger. But this tiger symbolizes for courage. Okay, courage and boldness. Okay. So if you see here, option is not there, so you can go for energy. Okay. The sea that bears her bosom to the moon is a line from the poem. Okay. So the sea that bears her bosom to the moon as a line. Basically, this poem, this line belongs to the poem The World is Too Much With Us. This poem is written by William Wordsworth, and it is talking about the materialism of the world, living behind the natural beauties. Okay. When were lyrical ballads published? It is 1798, as I told you earlier. Proteus. Basically, the spelling mistake is here, so you can correct this spelling is Proteus. Okay. Yeah, Proteus is the correct name. In Greek mythology, it is the god of sea god. Yeah, Proteus. This Proteus is also, you can say, as sea of god in Roman mythology as Neptune. Okay, or sometimes it is also known as Poseidon. Okay, Poseidon. Lekin here once here it is given as Proteus. Not the spelling is wrongly given here, so you can correct the spelling. So Proteus in Greek mythology is sea of god, who has been called the high priest of nature. Naturally, it is William Wordsworth. So next question, question number 10 is, in which poem Wordsworth laments over the man's apathy towards nature in the wake of growing materialism? Simply, it is The World is Too Much With Us. Okay, here he is lamenting towards the growing materialism of the world. 9 mean rows will I have there, a hive for the honey bee. is a line from the poem The Lake Isle of Innisfree. It is written by W.B. Yeats. Okay. Who wrote Byzantium? Byzantium also written by W.B. Yeats. Okay. Yeats was the chief exponent of Symbolist movement. He was chief exponent of Symbolist movement. Okay. W.B. Yeats' poetry is remarkable for the use of basically myth and folklore. Okay. So basically he is talking about Irish myth and folklore. Okay. Which epithet Keats does not use for Grecian urn? Okay. Cold pastoral, bride of quietness, darkling, Sylvan historian. So here correct answer is darkling. Coast pastoral means the beauties of pastoral, or you can say country life, but which is in negative sense. If you see the poem Grecian urn, you find that so many persons are leaving their house and going for the sacrifice. So that kind of imagery is called as cold pastoral. Okay. Shakespeare was born on 23rd April 1564 and died on 23rd April 1616. Okay. So 17th question. The theme of the sonnet, "Let me not to the marriage of true minds," is love. Okay. Here basically it is platonic love. Platonic or spiritual love. Okay. So you can go for love. True love is to every wandering bark is the star. True love is the star to every wandering bark. Means जो शिप हैं उनके लिए एक स्टार की तरह गाइडिंग है. So true love is the star to every wandering bark. Shakespeare's sonnet were addressed to two persons, the Earl of Southampton and Dark Lady. If you go in deep, you find here for Earl of Southampton 1 to 126, and then from 127 to 152. This is for Dark Lady. Okay. And the last two for God of Love. So total 154 sonnets Shakespeare has written, and out of 154, 1 to 126 means sonnet number 1 to 126, it is addressed to a fair youth who is called as generally as the Earl of Southampton. Who is he? It is not clear. Okay. Shakespeare's sonnet were printed by, it was printed by Thomas Thorpe in 1609. Okay, you can remember the date also because it is being asked in many exams. So Shakespeare's sonnet were printed by Thomas Thorpe. Basically, it's the name of publisher, not his friend. Of course, he was knowing him. Okay, which of the following was not written by Shakespeare? Okay, Hamlet, Edward II, Richard III, Macbeth. Okay, here Hamlet is written, Richard II is written, Macbeth is written. So Edward II is not here. Okay, so correct option is Edward II. If you go in deep, you find here basically Edward II. It is not Edward II. Basically Edward III. Okay, he has written Edward III. So there are a lot many confusion between many poems. Many drama written by Shakespeare, because in if you go for history plays, you find here Richard II and III. So you can remember here Richard II and III. Then after that he wrote Edward III. Then after that he wrote Henry's series. Okay, Henry. In Henry, 4th, then 5th, then 6th, then 8th. Okay. Then in parts are there. It is not Henry 7th. You can remember here Henry 7th. There is no play like Henry 7th. But in Henry 4th is there in two parts, 1 and 2. Then Henry 5th is single part. Then Henry 8th is 1 to 3. Okay, 3 parts are there. Sorry, Henry 6th has Henry 6th has 1 to 3 parts, and Henry 8th is alone. Okay, so Henry 5th and Henry 8th, these are alone, and Henry 4th has 2 parts, part 1 and part 2. Then Henry 6th has 3 parts, part 1, 2, 3. Okay, so there is confusion. So here for Edward you can remember Edward. You write here E like this. So 3 lines are there. So you can make it here Edward 3. Okay, for just remembering, and just I am giving you a clue. So Edward 3. Okay, and then in Richard 2 and 3. Then Henry 4th, that is part 1 and 2. Then Henry 5th. Then Henry 6th, 3 parts. Then Henry 8th. Okay, so these are history plays. Of course, other than this, he has also written King John. Okay, John King. King John. Okay, sometimes he is also known as the King of England, John. Okay, next question, question number 22. John Donne is said to affect metaphysics to an extent that makes his poetry obscure. Oh, okay, it is obscure. Means John Donne has, means here, John Donne is affected to metaphysics to that extent which makes his poetry very unclear, or you can say very obscure. Okay, so here correct option is obscure. Let me tell you in Hindi also. तो जॉन डन ने जो मेटाफिजिक्स का प्रयोग किया है उसको इतने हद तक प्रयोग कर दिया है कि उनकी पोएट्री कई बार अनक्लियर फील होती है, बड़ा ऑब्सक्योर फील होता है. ऑब्सक्योर मतलब एक अनक्लियर टाइप. ओके, हु रिमार्क्ड फॉर डन ही अफेक्ट्स मेटाफिजिक्स. नेचुरली इट इज इन अ बुक रिटन बाय पोप. ओके, in a book it is written by Pope. So 23rd, sorry, it is written by Dryden. Okay, Dryden. Dryden wrote one book that is Discourse of Satire. One book is there, Discourse of Satire. Okay, it was written in 1693. So in this book, he has mentioned this line: he affects metaphysics. Okay, so this remark is done by John Dryden. Okay, so next question, question number 24. Donne tells his beloved wife not to shed tears because it will dishonor to their holy soul. Here John Donne's poem is basically this poem. This is telling to his poem valediction. Okay, forbidding mourning, a valediction. So in this one, yeah, it will dishonor to their holy soul. Okay, so the poem a valediction, forbidding mourning, is an example of spiritual love. Okay. Donne compared, Donne compared their united two souls with spheres. Basically, this question belongs to this poem, a valediction, forbidding mourning. Okay, in this one he has compared with spheres. Okay, what is meant by the oracle of God in Paradise Lost, book 1? Basically, oracle of God here, it is the Moses, or you can say God of writing. Basically, here Milton invokes to the God of writing, or you can say Moses, to give him strength to write that book. Okay, so here Moses is there. Then, what is the forbidden tree in Paradise Lost, book 1? Forbidden tree. That basically, if you go on the book, you find the tree of knowledge of good and evil. In this one, this tree, the fruit of this tree was forbidden. That basically it is called as apple tree. Okay, of course, but the tree symbolizes for tree of knowledge of good and evil. So that was as a forbidden tree in Paradise Lost, book 1. Okay, who sat dove-like on the vast abyss? Okay, who sat? So basically, in book 1, if you go through, so you in the start you find that Milton invokes to the God of writing, or you can say God of knowledge, that is the Moses here. So here Moses, he considers that Moses sit like dog on the vast abyss. Okay. How many books are there in Paradise Lost? Basically 12 books are there. Here remember to remember here, initially this book was written in 10 parts, or you can say 10 books. Okay. Later on it was converted into 12 books. So here correct option is 12. Now the next question. A line with 6 feet is called as hexameter. Okay, 6 feet, hexameter. 6 feet means hexameter here means 6 feet means 12 syllables. Okay. Here. Now Thomas Watt and Earl of Surrey are connected with sonnet. Basically Thomas Watt started writing first time sonnet in England, and he changed the structure of sonnet which were being used in Petrarchan model. So in Petrarchan model, you know 8 plus 6 model is there, but in England it was started as 4 lines, means you can say 3 quatrains of 4 lines and 1 couplet, means 4 into 3 plus 1 into 2, so it makes 14 lines. So he changed, and Watt and Surrey, Earl of Surrey, basically it's Earl of Surrey is here Henry Howard. Here name is not given, but you can note down here Henry Howard. Okay. So Earl of Surrey is this one, Henry Howard. See, these two started writing sonnets in early 16th century, and they published in 1557. Okay. So next question. An elegy written in a country churchyard is basically it's naturally it's a pastoral elegy. Okay. The Pindaric Odes was first written in Greece. Basically Pindar was the poet. Pindar. Okay. He started writing first time ode, and based on his name, this type of odes are called as Pindaric odes. So he was a Greek poet, and based on his name, such ode is called as Pindaric ode. Okay. The Pindaric odes. So the Pindaric ode was further practiced after some modifications by Roman poet Horace. Here if you see the model of odes, so basically there are 3 models. One is Pindaric, another is Horace, and third one is irregular. Okay. If you see here around 400 plus means BC, around 400 plus BC. Then Horace started in 65 BC, and then irregular odes were practiced in England later on. Okay. So based on Pindaric models, he changed. Of course, he followed the structures almost same, but not exactly. But in themes and structure, especially language, because Horace used some sophisticated language, or you can say colloquial language here. But in Pindar's, you find formal language. So these are differences between Pindaric and Horatian. Which of the following is an Anglo-Saxon epic? Anglo-Saxon epic. Basically, it's Beowulf. Okay. In England, basically, it is called as the oldest surviving text, Beowulf. The ballad has been derived from the word ballare, which means basically ballare means dancing. Okay. So here dancing is there. Next question, 38 number. Which of the following is not a ballad? Okay. So La Belle Dame Sans Mercy is a ballad. Yeah, it is there. Cherry Chase is also there. Christabel is also there. Okay, My Last Duchess, it is not there. It is basically dramatic monologue. Okay. Dramatic monologue. Okay, it is written by Robert Browning. Okay. Christabel Cherry Chase and La Belle Dame Sans Mercy. These are basically ballad. Okay, which of the following has been defined as moments momentum? This have been defined as moments momentum. So here it's ode. Okay. Okay. Which of the following is a dramatic monologue? Last Ride Together. Okay, it is also written by Robert Browning. Okay, Robert Browning. An allegory is a narrative where more is meant than meets the ear, musical composition expressing a single emotion, long narrative poem of great magnitude, morning song of a poem. Okay, allegory. It's allegory is basically a narrative where more is meant than meets the ear. Means in allegory, whatever is written, that surface meaning is not the real meaning. It has some hidden meaning, or you can say some other meaning intended. So basically, allegory is a narrative where more is meant than what is meets to the ear. Okay, basically this is long narrative poem of great magnitude. Okay. Sometimes you find allegory poems as very short poem also, but sometimes longer poem also. But the meaning is that here in allegory you find the meaning other than the surface meaning. Okay. Next question, 42 number. Which of the following is a long narrative poem treating a grand theme in a grand manner? Grand theme in a grand manner. Basically, it is the epic. Okay. A heroic couplet has 14 lines, 3 lines, 6 lines, 2 lines. Okay. Heroic couplet has 2 lines with same rhyme. A blank verse contains 2 feet, 5 feet, 6 feet, 7 feet. Okay. 5 feet. Of course, it is written in iambic pentameter. Okay, pentameter, but no rhyme. Okay, blank verse means meter but no rhyme. If you say no meter, no rhyme, then it is called as free verse. So here it is blank verse. Blank verse means meter but no rhyme. Okay, so you have 5 feet here. Next question. In a Spenserian stanza, there are 9 lines. Okay, and 9th line is basically in hexameter, you can say. That is called as Alexandrine. In terza rima, the stanza consists of 3 lines. Okay, in terza rima. Basically, if you see in terza rima, this is line. Okay, so here it is interlocked. Okay, so if we see A, B, A, then you find here B, C, B, and same way it is, sorry, B here. Okay, yeah, so a correct one is. Okay, so next stanza here like that. Okay, so it is called as interlocking in terza rima. Okay, a Petrarchan sonnet has 2 parts, octave and sestet. In octave, 8 plus 6 pattern is there. Okay, ABBA, ABBA, then CD, CD, CD. Okay, yes, CDE, CDE. So this 8 plus 6 model is Petrarchan model. On his blindness is Italian sonnet, Shakespearean sonnet. Basically, it is based on the Petrarchan model, so you can say Italian sonnet. Okay. Okay. Of course, one thing to note here, based on Milton's style of sonnet, some a different kind of sonnet form is also called as Miltonic sonnet, in which you find some lines are longer than usual. Okay, so that is also known as run over the line. Yeah, one option is there, none of these, but basically sonnets are of two types, Petrarchan and English here. So here he has followed Petrarchan model, or you can say Italian model. So here correct option is Italian. Next 49 question. The classical ode or the Pindaric ode is structured in three parts. Okay, it is strophe, antistrophe, and dipad. Okay, basically in strophe, the group of dancers move from right to left. Okay, then in antistrophe they move from left to right. Then in epod they stand in the center and they finish their song. So strophe, antistrophe, and epod, these are the three parts. Of course, these are three stanza in the poem. Okay, Ode to the West Wind has been written in it is written by P.B. Shelley. Okay, Mock epic is a satire on real epic, an imitation of real epic, parody of the real epic, another version of real epic. It's parody of a real epic. Okay, mock epic. Next question. ... has been called the epic of 20th century. Here, 20th. If you see here, the Wasteland. It is written by T.S. Eliot. Okay, in 1922. So 20th century, only one poem is there, because Christabel, it was written by S.T. Coleridge, who was romantic. Hyperion was written by Keats, and Paradise Lost was written by Milton. So all belong to earlier period. Only the Wasteland written by T.S. Eliot, which was in 1922. So it only belongs to 20th century. So you can guess here. The correct answer is the Wasteland. Next question. The best example of allegory is Edison's Public Credit, Bunyan's Pilgrim's Progress, Spencer's Faerie Queene, all of the above. Okay, if you see here, Edison's Public Credit it is also an allegory. Bunyan's Pilgrim's Progress is also an allegory. Spencer's Faerie Queene, it is also allegory. Okay, but the question is very confusing here. The best example of allegory. Okay, so it is very doubtful, but all of the above option is there. Okay, so if you see, the Faerie Queene, it is more being taught and it is very popular. Of course, Pilgrim's Progress is also popular, but all of the above answer is correct here. I think so. Okay, blank verse is a poetic form written. Options are very funny. On a blank page with blank feelings, in iambic pentameter lines rhyming with each other, in iambic pentameter lines unrhymed. Okay, so here if you see blank verse, okay, in blank verse meter will be there, but no rhyme. Okay, no rhyme. So it is written in iambic pentameters, in iambic pentameter lines unrhymed. Okay, option D is correct. Meter is there and unrhymed. Okay, no rhyme is here. Milton's Paradise Lost has been written in, yeah, it is very difficult question here. It is written in blank verse. Okay, Milton's Paradise Lost is written in blank verse. Blank verse means it is following meter but not rhyme. Okay, Milton wanted to justify the ways of God to men in his book Paradise Lost. Okay, Paradise Lost में he wants to justify the ways of God to men. Question number 57. Milton was in Devil's Party without knowing it. Who said it about Milton? Okay, Milton was in Devil's Party without knowing it. So basically it was told by William Blake. Okay, Milton was in Devil's Party. It was told by William Blake. Okay, now satire is my weapon. Next question is, satire is my weapon, but I am too discreet to run amok and tilt at all I meet. Who said? So basically it was told by Alexander Pope. Okay, Alexander Pope. Satire is my weapon, but I am too discreet. It was told by Alexander Pope, who said, first follow nature, and Homer is nature and nature is Homer. Okay, it is also told by Pope. Means Homer is nature is Homer and Homer is nature and nature is Homer. It is very famous line. It is told by Alexander Pope. So let's see next question. Question number 60. What oft was thought but never so well expressed is the quality associated with? Okay, neoclassicals. Okay, what oft was thought but never so well expressed is the quality associated with neoclassical poetry. Okay, next question is, who called or defined the 18th century as the age of prose and reason? Okay, Matthew Arnold has described it. Who called the age of prose and reason to 18th century? Matthew Arnold. Matthew Arnold had told it. Okay. Of course, Matthew Arnold belonged to 19th century, but he called 18th century as the age of prose and reason. Who said the proper study of mankind is man? Okay, yeah, it's a very famous line by Alexander Pope. Okay, Essay on Man. One book is there. In epistle 2, it is this line belongs. The proper study of mankind is man. Thomas Gray was a metaphysical poet, an Elizabethan poet, neoclassical poet, transitional poet. Basically, Thomas Gray was transitional poet. Okay. Okay, question number 64. In Fulminism of purest ray serene, the Zem refers to in elegy. Here in elegy means the elegy written in country churchyard. So it is asking, the Zem means stones in the ocean, flowers in the desert, stars in the sky, none of these. Okay. So in Fulminism of purest ray serene, the Zem refers to the stars in the sky. Okay. In the elegy, the line, the plowman plots his weary way, is an example of. The plowman plots his weary way. Basically, if you see here, the weary way means जो थक गया है बहुत ज़्यादा, ठीक है. तो यहाँ पे कह रहा है कि उसका जो थकावट है, ये बेसिकली एक फिगर ऑफ स्पीच होता है, ट्रांसफर्ड एपिथेट, जिसमें एक एडजेक्टिव को ट्रांसफर कर जाता है किसी और ऑब्जेक्ट पे. ठीक है, तो यहाँ पे जिसकी थकावट है उसको ट्रांसफर कर दिया गया है रास्ते में. ठीक है, तो यहाँ पे वेरी वे मतलब है थकावट, रास्ता नहीं टूटा फूटा है, उनकी जो थकावट है उसके लिए ट्रांसफर कर दिया गया है. तो बेसिकली यहाँ पे ट्रांसफर्ड एपिथेट है. लव इज नॉट टाइम्स फूल दो रोजी लिप्स एंड चेक्स within his bending sickles compass come. The above line occurs in, it is very famous line in Let Me Not Do the Marriage of Two Minds, written by Shakespeare. Okay. Sonnet number 116. So question number 67. In doubt, his mind or body to prefer, but born to die, and reasoning but to err. In doubt, his mind or body to prefer, born to die, and reasoning to err. It is written in Essay on Man. Getting and spending, we lay waste our powers, little we see in nature that is ours. Basically, this line belongs to The World is Too Much With Us, written by William Wordsworth. Okay. Getting and spending, we lay waste our powers, little we see in nature, that is ours. So it is, this line belongs to the world is too much with us. Next question. When the stars threw down their spears and watered heaven with their tears. When the stars threw down their spears and watered heaven with their tears. This line belongs to The Tiger, the poem written by William Blake. Okay, by Blake. Okay. Okay, next question, question number 72. How many sonnets does Shakespeare collection contain? Okay, Shakespeare's sonnet has 154. Okay. Total collection is, in the collection, total sonnets are 154. Out of 154, 1 to 126 is written for A Fair Youth, or you can say Earl of Southampton. Then next 127 to 152, that is for Dark Lady, and last two for Love of God. Sorry, God of Love. Okay. Ode to Nightingale was written by Keats. Basically, Keats has published five great odes. It is very famous, and these five greats are, okay, you can remember here, AP GNM, okay, Andhra Pradesh GNM. So here, Ode to Autumn, Ode to Psyche, Ode to Grecian Urn, Ode to Nightingale, and Ode to Melancholy. So these are five great odes which were published in 1819. ओके 1819 में 5 ग्रेट ओड्स पब्लिश किया किट्स ने, और ये पांचों का नाम है ओड टू ऑटम, ओड टू साइके, ओड ऑन ए ग्रीशियन अर्थ, ओड टू नाइटिंगेल, एंड ओड ऑन मेलैंकोली. So these five are called as 5 great odes written by Keats. Horatian ode is also known as lesbian ode. Basically, this term, the word lesbian, has been derived from the lesbo. Okay. Lesbo. It is the name of place. The people of this place, basically it's island. Okay. They have practiced Horatian ode. So based on this practice, this Horatian ode is also called as lesbian ode. Okay. Here another ode is there, Dorian ode. It is also known as Pindaric ode. So do not get confused. Okay. Dorian. It is the name of district whose people have practiced Pindar model of ode. So that is Pindaric ode is also known as Dorian ode, and Horatian ode is known as lesbian ode, based on the name of place, Lesbo island. Okay, question number 75. Who committed the original sin? Here Adam and Eve has committed the original sin in Paradise Lost. Basically it is in Paradise Lost. Who remarked, beauty is truth, truth beauty? Keats. Okay. In which stanza of Ode on a Grecian Urn does Keats describe a scene of pastoral sacrifice? Okay. If you see in the fourth stanza, there is a scene for pastoral sacrifice. Hellenism is the quality of whose poetry? Keats. Basically, Hellenism is generally known as for beauty. Okay. It is also known, another term is here, Hellenism means, love for Greek art and culture, love for art culture of ancient Greece. So this term is also referred for Hellenism, and in general it is also referred as for desire for beauty, or you can say beauty. So Hellenism is practiced highly by Keats. Next question, Hellenism means love for art culture of ancient Greece. Okay. So basically it's beauty of art and culture. Okay. So 80. Question number 80. In classical mythology, Neptune is known. Yeah, good question here. Neptune. I think earlier I also discussed. Uh, yeah, it is sea of God. Sea god here. It is basically in Rome. It is in Roman mythology. It is Neptune, who is sea of God. But in Greek mythology, it is Poseidon. ठीक है, Poseidon in Greek. Who among the following stood for the Victorian Compromise? Naturally, Matthew Arnold. Okay, he wrote best in that poem Dover Beach. Yeah, it is the best poem for Victorian Compromise. Okay, Tenson's Break 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 is written in Break Break Break. It is 4-line stanza into basically 4 stanza, 4 lines each. Okay, so 4 stanzas are there and total 4 stanza. Next question, question number 87. In which stanza of Break 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 does the following line occur? But oh, for the touch of the vanished hand. But oh, for the touch of the vanished hand. Okay, question number 87. In which stanza of Break 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 does the following line occur? But oh, for the touch of the vanished hand. Yeah, of course, it is in third stanza. Okay, it is in third stanza. 4 स्टेंजा का पोएम है पूरा, थर्ड स्टेंजा में ये आता है लाइन. Okay, here question number 88. In which line of Tennyson does the following line occur? Strive to seek to find and not to ill. Yeah, this line belongs to Ulysses. Okay, Ulysses is a very famous poem. So question number 89. Tennyson won which prize for the poem Timbuktu in Cambridge University? Basically, he got Chancellor's Medal. Okay, here Chancellor's Prize. Nobel laureate, Nobel Prize इनको मिला ही नहीं. ठीक है, honorary DCL. DCL is basically degree, Doctorate of Civil Law. Okay, so he got Chancellor's Prize for the poem Timbuktu, which was published later in poems chiefly lyrical. 1830 में बुक पब्लिश हुई थी, उसमें पब्लिश हुआ बाद में. Okay, question number 90. Complete the line by filling in the blank. With tremulous cadence, slow, and bring the eternal note of sadness in. Yeah, ये sadness in ये है. Okay, डॉवर बीच की लाइन है. With tremendous cadence, slow, and bring the eternal note of sadness in. Question number 91. Whose reflective poetry expresses doubts, melancholy, and unrest? Matthew Arnold. Okay. Sophocles was a Greek dramatist. So option A is correct. Okay. Next question. Question number 93. The lines swept with confused alarms of struggle and flight where ignorant armies clashed by night. Of course, it is last line of Dover Beach. Dover Beach was written by Matthew Arnold. Okay. Which of the following poem was not written by Matthew Arnold? Okay, the options are Scholar Gypsy, Thyrsis, In Memoriam, Rugby Chapel. Okay, so here In Memoriam. Correct answer is In Memoriam because it was written by Tennyson. Okay. Rest all Scholar Gypsy is written by Matthew Arnold, Thyrsis is written by Matthew Arnold, and Rugby Chapel is also written. Okay. Next question, question number 96. The lines occur in which poem? Moving of the earth brings harms and fears. Men reckon what it did and meant. Okay. Moving the earth brings harms and fears. Men reckon what it did and mint. Basically, this is the line belonging to poem A Valediction Forbidding Morning, which is written by John Donne. Okay, done. Okay, next question number 97. Question number 97. A youth to fortune and to fame unknown, fair science frown not on his humble birth. The above line occurs in the poem एलिजी. बेसिकली ये जो थॉमस ग्रे की एलिजी है, एलिजी रिटन इन कंट्री चर्चयार्ड, उसमें उन्होंने जो एपिटॉफ लिखा है अपने डेथ के लिए कि हाँ हमारी डेथ पे एपिटॉफ लिखा जाए, उसमें लाइन आता है अ यूथ टू फॉर्च्यून एंड टू फेम अननोन, फेयर साइंस फ्राउन नॉट ऑन हिज हम्बल बर्थ. ओके, सो एलिजी रिटन इन कंट्री चर्चयार्ड बाय थॉमस ग्रे. ओके, what is in me in dark? What in me is dark, illumine what is low, raise and support. Above line occurs in the poem. बेसिकली पैराडाइज लास्ट की लाइन है, जब वो इन्वोक करते हैं गॉड से कि हाँ उनको इतनी शक्ति मिले कि हाँ वो लिख सकें. ओके, सो बेसिकली ही इज invocating to the god of knowledge, or you can say Moses. So here paradise last line is there. Question number 99. But the tender grace of the day that is dead will never come back to me. Okay, the tender grace of the day that is dead will never come back to me. Oh, ये है लाइन ब्रेक 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 की. ठीक है, टेंशन की पोएम की लाइन है ये, ब्रेक 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 की. Now the last question, question number 100. She looked on and her looks went everywhere. Sir, it was all one. The above lines occur in the poem My Last Touches. Okay, she looked on and her looks went everywhere. Sir, it was all one. Okay, so these lines occur in the poem My Last Touches. So with this, I have discussed all the 100 questions. If you have any doubt, please keep commenting.